Be still, take a moment, and listen to your body. That is something essential that you need to learn to be able to survive Christmas. Listen, be still in the moment, and ask yourself, am I hungry, or is this just a craving? And the only way you're going to be able to distinguish that is if you learn to listen to exactly what your body is telling you. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. And I'm going to give you 10 strategies to help you to survive and thrive without missing a beat. You're going to waltz right through onto the new year, and you're going to keep all of your progress that you have made, and you're going to do that without any stress and without overwhelm. I had something to tell you. I got 10 things that I need to tell you about so that you can be successful and survive Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. And before we start talking about those strategies, I think we need a little team huddle, okay, to get our mind right. And then we're going to outline our strategies, and then we're going to put that plan into action, okay? For the next couple of days leading up to Christmas, it's going to be very hectic with all the things that you have going on, commitments that are not permanent, but just because it's Christmas, you have to do more activities than you usually have to do, more events, more going out, more gatherings. You can admit that it will be hectic, but it does not have to be stressful, and it does not have to overwhelm you, okay? Approach each day leading up to this with a daily huddle with yourself. Get your mind centered on what you want to accomplish that day so that you are practicing mindfulness all through these next few days on into the new year. Mindful of everything that you're putting into your body, whether it's by your mouth, but from your eyes that you see, or from the things that you hear. Yes, you want to make good decisions about what you are putting in your mouth. You need to think about what your eyes see, because these things affect how your mind processes things. What you see affects a lot of things. It affects your emotions. It changes your train of thought. So vision is very important in being mindful. Okay, so you don't want to watch a bunch of negative things, or you don't want to take in a lot of angry things or a lot of things that'll make you anxious visually. And then akin to that, you don't want to be listening to a lot of negativity either, because this will change the way you think. You change the framework that you have been working so hard to get to. This extra negativity and a busy moment, busier than usual, that you have to make these adjustments for. If you add more negativity in the form of sight and hearing, it will affect your decision making about what you put in your mouth. Huddle with yourself every day. Be grounded in your thinking, and try to eliminate as much negativity out of your life as you can. So anything that's negative that you want to hear, that includes music, um, any arguments, any people calling you with negativity, you're going to remove that. You're going to stop it right there. Any negative imagery that you're going to see, if the news is stressing you out, if it's causing you to have some negative emotion, turn the news off. If there's a program on TV or television show, a movie, that is it may even be something good to watch, but you're just not in the space. Negative processing, okay, or in the imagery. So don't watch those things, okay? Your mind is going to be doing more than it usually does. So those negative things could subconsciously affect your behavior and how you deal with food. Remember our mindfulness and huddle with ourselves every day. Now we're going to review the strategies of what you have to do to be successful. I want to start off by reminding you too of what Christmas is about. Family, it's about giving, it's about celebrating the birth of Christ, it's about um, fellowship and community. It's not about how much you can buy for someone. It's not about all of the gifts. It's not about the clothes and the things you're going to wear. And it's not about who's who will be there. I don't want that person there. And all of those negative things that come along, or she's going to be nasty, or she's going to be negative, or she's going to start an argument, or she can't cook. All of those kind of things, they don't matter. So let them roll off your back. Have a I don't care attitude about that. And not in a way that you don't care about people, but that you don't care about that situation because it is not that serious. Okay? You can release it and let it go. Just let it roll off your back. Okay? So, along with your huddle, you're going to keep focus on what Christmas is about. So, what is Christmas? Christmas is tenderness for the past, it is courage for the present, and hope for the future. And that's written by Agnes M. Paro. Okay? It really sums up what I'm trying to get across about the meaning of Christmas and the purpose of it. So let's get to these strategies. I got 10 strategies for you to keep you healthy during Christmas time, okay? And you know, we both know that you're going to enjoy or take part in more uh, decadent things than you usually do, or more calories are going to be consumed than you usually do. The more are going to be presented to you because of all the gatherings. So we want you to enjoy yourself. But like we just talked about, be mindful of everything you take in. Okay? So you're keeping the mindfulness off the bat. But we know we don't want you to be miserable thinking about like you're being punished. So we need to change that mindset. You're going to have some more sweets. You may not be able to do their activity in the same way that you've been doing it. So we already know that. So don't go into it anxious about that, or feeling overwhelmed about that. That is the purpose of this plan. Our strategy number one: do not leave the house hungry. I repeat, do not leave the house hungry. Be prepared by planning the events you have to do or the activities you need to do. Planning is going to be key. So you're going to keep your meals planned ahead of time. So before you go to that activity, or you go shopping, or you're going out, make sure you've eaten so that you won't be hungry and emotional about when you need to eat and overeat or make unhealthy choices because you didn't eat before you left home. I suggest you stick with your meal prepping and also have some extra around for these moments when you have to maybe change up your schedule or use your flex time that you didn't intend to use. Uh, and you'll have your pre made on the go things for you to take with you. Okay. So I recommend you get a 5 compartment or 4 compartment uh, meal prep container. And in that container, you are going to include some protein, complex carbohydrate, vegetable, legumes, and a low carb fruit. Here's an example of how you can go about and make your bento box. That's what we call it, a bento box. You can put tuna in your bento box. Tuna is easy to prepare, one, and if you're taking it to a party or you're taking it on an outing, it's not like out of the norm or something that you won't see at a party. People serve tuna all the time at parties, so you won't feel out of place. And you can make a lettuce wrap with that. You can have some of your low carb chips that you have, or um, seed bread with it. But yeah, so have your protein, and then you want to have a complex carbohydrate. I suggest a sweet potato. You can do sweet potatoes many ways to keep it interesting. Pop them in the air fryer, or you can roast them in the oven, or steam them, and and have mashed potatoes as well. So it's a lot of variety you can do with some sweet potatoes. And then you can also have some carrots. And carrots are cool because you can eat them fresh, freshly washed, and snack on those. And you can eat them cooked. You can also throw them in the air fryer, and you can also roast them. So it's a lot of flexibility of what you can do with carrots. They're also something that you might see at parties, so you won't feel out of place eating carrots. Okay, and some legumes. That's going to be another item in your bento box. And you can get you some peanuts, some chickpeas. It's there just to have you have a crunch. It's also a source of fiber and protein. So you can put some legumes in your bento box. And lastly, you can put some low carb fruit in there. Oh, you can do the berries, of course. And I also recommend uh, cantaloupe. It's not that high in carbs, it's a little bit more than the berries, but it'll satisfy that sweet tooth and it's kind of like a dessert for you. So be prepared by making these extra preps with your bento box, your on the go trays, so that when you leave the house, you either already sat down and ate or you have your prep ready to go. Number two, listen to your body. And if you do not know how to do that, I'm going to tell you right now. You are going to sit with yourself. That doesn't mean you have to sit down on the ground or anything, but center yourself and think about if you are really hungry or if you are experiencing a craving. So, and that takes you to actually internalize how you are feeling in the moment. Uh, True hunger has no emotion attached to it. True hunger, you will eat whatever you have there if you're truly hungry. On the other hand, cravings, they are heavily centered around emotions, any type of emotion, whether it be angry, uh, happy, excited, uh, anxious, um, you know, just sad, and then you want to eat a specific thing, that is a craving and it's not true hunger. So I want to recommend that you eat your food. And if after you finish your food, you feel like, oh, I want some more, I want seconds, wait 30 minutes. And if you are still legitimately hungry, eat some more. But if you feel an emotional attachment or emotional response to what's going on with this food, then that is a craving, and you need to make the decision of if it's a good time to have that extra food or extra sweet or extra drink. Uh, you need to be mindful if you've already had enough carbs or protein or what have you for the day. Um, and you need to be mindful of if you've done enough activity for the day to allow for extra food. If you did not, then you want to make the decision not to overindulge. Okay, um, because we know that weight loss is about a caloric deficit. Okay, and if you eat more food than you expend, you will gain weight. If you eat the same amount of food, that's energy, and you put out the same amount of energy with your physical activity, then you will stay at that steady state. You will stay at that standstill. You won't lose and you won't gain weight. But if you exercise or you have a surplus of energy being expelled and a lower amount of calories being taken in, you will lose weight. If you have a surplus of calories coming in and a less amount of activity being performed, you will gain weight. Okay, so keep those things in mind and rationalize with yourself. Think through this and see if it's worth it to you to have the extra thing. So, because you already know, oh, I had that earlier, so I won't eat this. Or I wasn't able to do my usual activity today. I had to substitute it with something. So I will not eat any more of that. Okay, so that's how you need to reason these things out. And you can't do it on impulse and you can't react to emotion. Much like uh, step number one, step number three, you need to plan before time. So we're going to be doing that right now with this exercise. And before you go out, you're going to make sure you have prepared some things. So that's a plan. And each day, you're going to huddle with yourself and figure out what you have to do and allot the right amount of time for that and give yourself cushion. I usually recommend 15 minutes, but since this is the holiday season and things just pop up, I will give myself 30 to 45 minutes of cushion in between things so that you are prepared if something um, that you didn't expect to happen comes up. So nothing trumps your non-negotiables. Those things that you have to do that are absolutely a part of your life with your family, your immediate family, with your health, with your meal preparation, with your cleanliness of your house and your clothes, those things that you have to do um, that are non-negotiable, whether it's go to church, whatever is non-negotiable that you have in addition to your meal planning and your activity and your follow up with whatever health care you are in need of, including blood work, then you plan all these other things around it and you give yourself some cushion in between those things so that you won't feel rushed and you won't feel overwhelmed in case something comes up that you didn't expect. So keep your planners going. Just because it's Christmas doesn't mean we don't use our planners. It doesn't mean that we throw our non-negotiables out the window, this is going to be a testament to just exactly how well you've learned and how disciplined you are in your new lifestyle. And also, when you go out, when you're gonna have alcohol, since you haven't been drinking as much alcohol as, or you haven't been drinking alcohol at all, most of us. So when you go out, it's good to have a reference of how much calories are in whatever drink you're taking, or whatever the alcohol is that you're going to be drinking. So here's a few of those things. Alcohol calorie guide, just a little reference as to that. So white wine, about 5 ounces of white wine has 120 calories in it. Champagne, 5 ounces of champagne has 106 calories. Red wine, 5 ounces is 125 calories, and 16 ounces of a mug of beer is 215 calories. A hard cider, a 16-ounce bottle, is 110 calories. 1.5 ounces of vodka is 96 calories. Rum, 1.5 ounces is 96 calories as well. And tequila, 1.5 ounce is 104 calories. Geigermeister, 1.5 ounces is 155 calories. A mimosa cocktail, 6 ounces is 88 calories. An old fashioned, um, 1.5 ounce is 88 calories. Vodka tonic, 1.5 ounce is 136 calories. Rum and Coke, 142 calories in 1.5 ounce. Gin and tonic, 150 calories in 1.5 ounce. Gin martini, 2 ounces is 167 calories. In a dark and stormy cocktail, 5.5 ounces is 172 calories. So this is a little reference for you. So you have the plan ahead of time, and you know a reference point for when you go out. You know how many calories you ate that day. You know how much activity you did. So this can help you to gauge the amount of calories or what type of cocktail you might want to have based on what you done earlier that day or what you plan to do later on in that evening. Okay, so make that a part of your plan as well. Being aware of those type of things adds to your education too about your health, about your nutrition. And you can use the Carb Smart app. It has a lot of things on there with the calories and the carbs and macros and micros and all of that on there, recipes even. So use that as a tool to help you with that research. And number 4, do not settle by the table. I know sometimes it may be crowded or you may have a lot of family over and seating may be not what you usually have, where you would sit different places. And then we get caught up in debates or watching a game and you just um, sit wherever you are, that. And when there's a lot of people, it could be anywhere in the house. But if at all possible, do not settle near the table where the food is. The cake table, the dessert table, the dinner table, the where you have your drinks. Don't settle near those places because you'll be visiting with family. Like I said, you might be watching a game, you might be um having debate, and you subconsciously or mindlessly just snack on the food because it's right next to you. And it's also, even if you are like paying attention, it's a lot of temptation for you to be sitting right next to the food. And sometimes we are very disciplined in not being able to take that extra bite but other times we are not. So because it's Christmas and you're going to have a more hectic schedule and everything like that, you might be more emotional than usual, but you're still going to try to control those emotions. I wouldn't tip myself that way. I suggest you not sit near the food tables. And if you have to, use mindfulness to think about whether or not you want to indulge in whatever's on that table. I recommend that when you are eating, or when you finally sit down to eat your Christmas dinner or you're at your party, make your usual plate and eat 50% of that plate. And wait about 30 minutes and eat another 30% if you're still hungry. And then you will be saving 20% in case um, something comes up where you're going to have a little bit of, could need a little bit of cushion so you can enjoy a treat. Maybe Aunt Sue made her famous pound cake and you wanted to taste a slice of that, or somebody made some eggnog and you want to have a glass of that. If you've prepared ahead of time by eating only 80% of your plate, you have another 20% to enjoy additional things. So start off with your plate as usual, eat 50% of that, then eat another 30% of that if you're still hungry, and you'll have a 20% reserve in case you want to indulge in something else. Okay? And it gives you a little cushion for those things with extra calories or extra carbs. Number 5 is adding on to that idea that I was telling you about when you're sitting at the table and how you should eat 50% of your plate. Well, step 5 is to reinforce that. So, not just for your dinner time or not just on Christmas Day, but the next couple of days, eat 80% of what you usually would eat. And I would recommend that you detail or keep in mind exactly what was on that plate. Okay. So, step 5 is all these days leading up to Christmas, make your plates and only eat 80% of that. Make your usual servings and only eat 80% of that. And this will minimize your caloric intake all the way up to Christmas. And so on Christmas, you have better um, willpower and mindful control on that day so that you won't overindulge in food. So that's number 6 is to keep active. When we do a plan, it's going to be a non-negotiable for us. But we also need to remember to have a backup plan in case something comes up. Or in those days where you have a jam-packed schedule and you're not going to be able to commit to a activity like going to the gym or going outdoors for your daily walk or jog, you have to make up some backup plans, a primary backup plan and a tertiary backup plan. You should make a plan with your usual activities that you do and then have a backup plan in case something happens. You can have something like jump rope at home or chair exercises or watching a workout video or using a workout app. Just have a backup to what you would usually do. And in the case that you're in a situation where you can't do the backup, maybe you don't have a TV, You can plan to do some weight training or yoga or stretching exercises, but stay active during this time. And remember to have your primary activity, a secondary activity, and a tertiary activity so that you won't be thrown off by whatever presents itself, whatever extra that comes along that you didn't expect. It won't throw you off your game, okay? With your activity, be sure to plan, check off what you did to keep yourself accountable, and you can also make a journal entry or a brainstorm of how you felt after that activity, so it adds to your mindfulness. Okay, so you know how much energy you just expended, so when you go to your dinner, you're right on cue with what you need to do as far as eating. Number 7 is cook at home. So like we were saying before, you're going to eat at home. Number 7, you're going to cook at home. And this is very important up into those days that you're going to go to your Christmas Day events or Christmas Eve events. Cook at home so that you won't be out eating fast food or unhealthy food. Cook at home so that you won't have more sodium than you usually have, which would cause some water weight. Cook at home so that you have all the things you need to go along with your diet, such as the correct amount of protein, um, the right amount of fats or the good fats that you want to consume, and you have enough vegetables to intake. So cook at home. And if you do have to go to a party, and you won't be at home, prepare something for you to take. And also, a lot of times, if you tell your friends or your host that what you're trying to accomplish with your food, a lot of times they will try to have something for those people who have a specialized diet. So you might tell your host, and in the event that they can, or it's a potluck, bring something that's good for you to eat, and others might enjoy it as well. Okay, so cook at home. It is very important while you're cooking at home to stay prepared. You don't have to be so what I've been trying to tell you guys with all these strategies. And now we're at strategy number 8. And this one is to keep a food log. Much like your fitness log or your exercise activity log, you want to write down what you ate so you can make a mindful decision later on about what you want to eat, because you're going to know exactly what that is so you can gauge how much calories you can consume later. And you've already keeping a record of your activity, so you know exactly how much activity you did, and you can then gauge if you can have additional snack or treat or additional drink. Okay, you could, because you know exactly the amount of energy you expended, and you're aware of all the calories you ate. And so remember about our 80% rule all the way up to Christmas Day. And then on Christmas Day or your dinner, you're gonna fix your usual proportion or portion size on your plate, but you're gonna eat 50% of that. And then if you're still hungry, you're going to eat another 30%. And then you'll save 20% for those extra things. So remember to keep a record of what you have on your 80% days and what you're doing on Christmas Day with your 50, 80, 20. Okay, so then you actually know exactly how much calories you can consume in exchange for that 20%. Okay. And then also write down the emotion that you have, if there is any emotion attached to it. That will help you identify whether it's true hunger or cravings. Number 9, eat slowly. Chew more. So, eating slowly helps you to recognize exactly how much food you are taking in, and you're not binging it down or munching along. You're actually paying attention to exactly the amount of food you're eating, and chewing it helps your digestion, slows it down so that you're also not in a hurry, allowing more food to go down. You're taking your time, you're practicing mindfulness, and you're listening to your body, and it's telling you whether or not you are hungry or experiencing a craving. And being very deliberate about the way you're eating, as far as eating slowly and chewing more, remind you to listen carefully to whether or not you need more food once you finished um, your 50% or 80% of your plate. And lastly, number 10, no guilt. You're not going to feel guilty if you have an extra treat, because you've prepared. You had a plan. You used the strategies. So you gave yourself enough cushion to enjoy and indulge in a little bit more. You've taken the time to use strategy leading up into Christmas, and you have strategies to execute on Christmas Day. So you are not going to feel bad if you had another spoon of banana pudding, or you've had another glass of eggnog, because you allowed yourself the cushion to do so. So, no guilt. This is a time for happiness and celebration and spending time with family and remembering the true meaning of Christmas and what it's all about. And it's not about guilt. So, it's not about throwing your diet to the streets either. So, we're going to be mindful, we're going to plan, and we're going to execute. And you're going to be great. And we're going to waltz our way right on into the new year. Okay? So, I'm wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I want to encourage you and admonish you, let you know that you are going to survive Christmas without any negativity coming from you. And you're going to repel all that negativity trying to get in. You're going to be mindful of all of that, and what you're eating, and how you're exercising. And you're going to have a strategic plan that you're going to follow every day. And you're going to execute that plan seamlessly. Okay? So, see you in the new year. Thank you for listening. I hope to see you again real soon. Don't forget